April 26th. It's the first day of meet week. This Saturday, I'll be competing in Fremont, Nebraska at the Nebraska State Championship there. I'll be in session 2 starting 11 a.m. is when the weigh-ins are starting. So I'm really excited about this week and kind of going into it. I wanted to make several videos leading up to it. This is part of the video here. And I wanted to talk about kind of my plan for this week, the kind of food that I'll be eating. I mentioned in my first video talking about the things that you'll take to a powerlifting meet, like the equipment, and I mentioned that I'd be talking about the food as well. So I kind of want to talk as I'm heading into this week, just stream of consciousness a little bit, talking about the food that I'll be eating this week, the water load, the water cut that I'm planning on doing, as well as that's the first time I've done that. This is the first time I'm trying to cut down to the 83 kilo class in freedom units, pounds. That's 182.9. First time I'm cutting down to that. And so talking about my plan to get there. And then I also want to talk about, I went grocery shopping on Saturday to get all of this prepared. I talk about the kind of food that I'm taking to the meet. I didn't really change much there. I'm taking pretty much the same stuff I've taken in the past. So talk about the plan there. I'm really excited. The way I've been training recently for the past 16 weeks is on the Juggernaut AI app from Chad Wesley Smith. I'll be doing a full review of that at some point, but this is week 16, leading up to the meet. And what I would normally do for a powerlifting meet for the taper and the peaking and so on is I've used some templates in the past, and usually what they'll do, that all powerlifting meets and tapers and peaking, for those of you who have done it before, you understand that they'll reduce the volume, reduce the intensity, and increase the specificity going into the meet. And in layman's terms, in plain English, what that means is you'll be dropping both the number of times you'll be lifting the weight as well as how heavy the weight is, but increasing, going into that final week, the number of times or the amount that you'll be doing the specific 3 lifts you'll be tested on, the squat, bench, deadlift, so that going into Saturday this week, you start feeling better and better, ideally more and more rested. And then Saturday morning, come Saturday afternoon, when you step on the platform for the first time, the movement patterns feel familiar, you're rested, you're ready to go. And so that's kind of what today was. Today was squat, bench, deadlift, but feel great. Didn't work up to crazy volume, didn't work up to crazy percentage of my max weight. So that's I think tomorrow is off and Thursday is off as well. I'm not really used to this, but Friday there's actually a couple light sets before we hit the road. Got a place out in Omaha, so it's going to be a little bit of a morning trip out to Fremont, which didn't know this, but Fremont evidently doesn't have Airbnbs anymore. So I did a meet there about a year and a half ago, but they must have changed that. So, all right, I'm rambling. So let me cut here, and I'll grab the food, and we'll talk about that. So let me first say, of course, I am not a nutrition. I'm not a registered nutrition. All this I'm getting from other sources, secondary sources, and the first time I'm trying it. So I'm bringing you guys along and kind of updating you on how it's going, but don't take my advice as gospel. If this works for you, go ahead and try it for sure, but I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist, just what I'm trying this time. So jumping into it, you're going to be going, like I said, for low density, high carbs and high calories, so to reduce the content in your belly. And the first thing you're going to be trying to accomplish starting on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, is going for almonds. And it's salted almonds, which gives you need to have sodium high to kind of counteract all the water you're coming in, because you don't want, if you don't drink enough sodium, if you don't take enough sodium and you're drinking all that water, then you're gonna have a bad time. So and these are insane. You could for nothing, just in the palm of your hand or less, you can get a whole lot of calories. 160 per serving, which is only 28 grams, 24 nuts. So you can really get a lot of bang for your buck with very little density. I have it broken down to where you're doing 60% of your proteins are your food is coming from these. So it's 880 calories just from these guys, which should be pretty easy to meet. I have enough for all 3 days just from this one bag Blue Diamond almonds. The next thing you're working is you're trying to get a lot of your protein in, and that'll become from a lot of whole milk. And the key to think about is when you're drinking your protein shakes, you want to make sure you count your water in your water load, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But you're trying to get a lot of bang for your buck on the proteins. Just a regular protein shake, whatever it is for you. And for me, I'm going to be shooting for 589 calories just from the protein. and that will go down easy. You know, it's just liquid. You know, you can either, if you have the room to work some milk in there, but more likely I will be using just water because I need to get through a lot of liquid during that week. And the third category there, the biggest category, 700. Well, actually, smaller category, I guess 726 calories is high density carbs. So you can go a couple different ways. I don't have any here. I might actually pick some up. Is a Rice Krispie Treats, Oreos, cereal, like a sugary cereal. I might get a different one than this one. Just, I mean, it's sugary enough, but maybe like, I don't know, some Oreo cereal or something like that, along with some milk, chocolate. You can just do chocolate, which of course is going to give you a whole lot of calories, a whole lot of high density carbs there. I saw Sean Oreo recommend rice cakes. By themselves are not calorie dense at all, but they're super light in your stomach. And then throw on some peanut butter and throw on some honey, and bingo, you could easily get to 400 calories just from one of these guys. You could make a potato bread, which is super high calorie, 120 calories for just one slice. So you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with one of these, and you're already, you could up the calories pretty quickly. The other thing to think about, and you want to look at all these things, is low fiber, because your fiber will retain the water, will help you retain the water, and that's the last thing you want to do. Moving into Thursday and Friday, as you're increasing the water, actually that's when you'll be decreasing the water, but you're decreasing the volume of food in your belly, is transition to more liquid stuff, so you can get orange juice in there. That's going to work as well on Thursday and Friday too, because on Thursday and Friday is when you're going to be juicing the water after bumping it up on Tuesday and Wednesday, tomorrow for me. So in orange juice will help you pee a little bit more. It's a diuretic, and of course, a lot of calories. So you can go with orange juice, or I also got some Naked Blue Machine juice. Same thing, a lot of 170 calories for only 8 ounces. So you're bumping those calories up while keeping the volume in your gut low. You can also go with Gatorade, which incidentally I get for the meat too. I always get some Gatorade, more than I need here. But one of these, of course, not only has calories in it, good calories, but it also has sodium and electrolytes, of course, to replenish and kind of keep that up for you. So that right there, that's everything I'll be eating the last 3 days, Wednesday through Friday. You can look around online a little bit for some a detailed breakdown of how it works, but basically you're looking at what is it? Your 2/3 of your calories come from the almonds and your protein shakes, and that's really easy to meet, especially if you're including milk in your protein shakes. You're going to bump that up quickly. You can go skim milk for lighter, or if you want to have not as many protein shakes, you can go vitamin B milk, pretty heavy on the calories. And then the other third, the remaining third, will from high density carb sources. Again, heavy protein, peanut butter and honey sandwiches. Like I said, rice cakes or chocolate. Or I'm gonna go pick some up tonight. Some Rice Krispie Treats or sugary cereal. Which of course, all this sounds like, why would you be doing this? Why would you be doing this if you're working out? If you're a powerlifter? The idea this week is to maintain performance and obviously increase performance on meet day, but reduce your weight and keep those the same. In other words, not have to sacrifice strength, and sodium would be a big factor in that. If you're reducing, obviously if you're reducing carbs, if you're reducing your overall calories into the meat, you're going to see that. And none of this is reducing the sodium, that will have a big impact come meet day. So let me talk now about the foods that I'll be taking with me to the meet and how I'd be recomping after weigh-ins. So in addition to manipulating the food content in your belly, which definitely sounds, this is the first time I'm doing it, sounds like the more fun part of the week, where I get to eat some sugary stuff and hopefully be feeling pretty good going into Friday and Saturday. The water load and the water cut is not going to be as fun, because because of the amount of water you're drinking, and of course the amount of water you'll be peeing constantly, from everything I've heard. So basically, what you want to do, it's pretty uncomplicated. It's not where you'll get the majority of your weight loss. You want to establish a baseline of about a gallon a day for most people, especially for me, a gallon a day leading up to the meet, several weeks. So a baseline of what your body's used to intaking and excreting, of course. And then going into the week, you'll be making some changes. 4 days out, so starting on Tuesday, you bump that up to 2 gallons. And Wednesday as well, 2 gallons. I can already tell you, I'm used to drinking a gallon a day. This is a gallon here, a gallon jug. And counting in coffee, protein shake, other liquids throughout the day, but generally about a gallon a day, give or take. Bumping up to 2 gallons is going to be, it's probably going to be painful as far as, at the very least, it's going to be pretty inconvenient. Thankfully, currently I work at home. Even if you work at offices, this should be doable, but something to think about whether or not you can actually do this during your day-to-day life. But that's what it does. And Tuesday and Wednesday this week, I'll be doing that. 2 gallons a day. Then Thursday, cut down to a gallon. Friday, half a gallon. And then you go in and eat. And then you're cutting out all liquids and all foods by 5 p.m. on Friday with an 11 a.m. weigh-in for me. Now, what happens here is your body gets used to putting out that much liquid, gets used to urinating that much. And when you cut back the liquid drastically like that, it'll continue to put out that much liquid, and you end up shedding a lot of water weight, which, to my point earlier, you're shedding water weight, you're shedding that, but it's not going to impact your performance. And especially for 2-hour weigh-ins, which you have to think about for USAPL, I'll be weighing in at 11, lifting will start at 1. That's a very small window to recomp, as we say. In other words, to get back up to your training weight. If I train, generally speaking, around 86, 87, 188 pounds, and I'm down 182.9 on the scale that morning, I want to get back up to 186, 87, if at all possible. So with 2 hours, it's much less time to do that than if you're at 24-hour weigh-in with some other federations. So that's pretty simple. That's the water cut. All right, let's talk about meet day food. Okay, so after having stepped on the scale, again, it's the first time I've done this, but I know what, you step on the scale. Normally what I would do is just pound some Gatorade, get some food in my belly, because you want to be bloated for squat. I can speak to that. That does actually work. If you're heavier on squat, for one thing, you feel better. You feel carved up. You have that sodium in your system. You're going to feel better anyway. But if you got that little bit of bloat in squat, it sounds a little weird, but like a little gross. You bounce out of the hole a little bit better. Some of you guys, you guys who powerlift would know that. This is really not changing that much, my meet day nutrition. But what I'm planning on doing this meet is a little different because of the water cut. So the first thing I'm doing, and I'm taking, Sean Noriega has a great video on this. I'm kind of taking his lead there. First thing I'm doing is mixing some tri-oral salts, which will allow you to recomp a lot better, and it will allow you to retain a lot of that water and not for it to just go out of your system right away. It has a lot of sodium in it, and it allows you to quickly rehydrate yourself. And down that with some Gatorade, and then start to have a full gallon of water there with me and start to pound the water. But in order for the water to stay in my system, I'm going to have 4 cups of rice, 4 cups of pre-cooked rice. I might bring along a small piece of chicken as well, some protein in there. But that's stuff that I'm used to eating. The main thing on meet day is you don't want to eat stuff you're not used to eating. Don't go crazy with stuff that you've never tried before. Stick to stuff that you generally are used to, because you don't want to be puking or worse on the platform or just feeling crappy all day. Now, I have heard, as Sean says in his video, that recomp process is not exactly super fun, because again, you're eating 4 cups of rice, a thing of Gatorade, which will go down quick, of course, and then a full gallon of water. You want to try to get through that, he says, in about 30 to 45 minutes, because, again, you get 2 hours, which doesn't sound like that much time, but you don't lift. And for me, for most people, I would think, it wouldn't take you more than 30, 40 minutes to warm up for that first squat attempt. So I don't even, in previous meets, I don't even start moving. I just sit around, maybe read a book, or bring along some podcasts on my phone until, 45 minutes before. And then I start warming up, I start getting ready, everything like that. So that's a full hour 15, hour 30 before you even have to move. So yeah, it's going to be uncomfortable to put that much water and down that much rice and the Gatorade. So that is what it is, but supposedly hour and a half in, but by the time you need to start moving, that will be gone and the discomfort. I forgot to mention the kind of secret sauce, which again I haven't used, but this is kind of like supposed to be the secret weapon before you even step on the scales with Jolly Ranchers, which will cause you to increase salivation, and you can spit out the morning if you wake up heavy the morning of, which you can lose up to a pound over an hour. So that's kind of like a last resort. Hopefully I'll have to use it. Hopefully I'll wake up on Saturday with plenty of room to spare. And then throughout the day, the only other thing I do, I end up probably drinking 4 or 5 of the Gatorades throughout the day to make sure I'm properly hydrated. I'll eat a couple bananas, quick carbs, just some chewy granola bars, stuff like this will help. And I usually make 2 or 3 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches as well throughout the day. So you want quick carbs, stuff that you're used to eating. That will, protein helps too. I got these, but a quick protein bar would be good too. You want to be properly hydrated, properly carved out throughout the day. But, and every video I ever watched on this says this as well, you also don't pig out during the day. You want to be properly fueled and hydrated, but especially given the fact that I'll be eating 4 cups of rice to kick it off. You got to think about the meat. Most meats don't last more than 3 hours. You don't got to pig out during the day. You want to have kind of these sources, and again, it looks like overkill here, but this will all be kind of reduced down. But there's nothing wrong with having some overkill there, but you don't have to eat it all, of course. You're going to want to celebrate. I always celebrate after the meet's over. Hopefully it's a good meet this Saturday, with going out and getting like a McDonald's, stuff like that, something I haven't been able to eat for the past couple months because I'm cutting to get down to that weight class. So, use your judgment, and I will be back later this week, kind of before the meet, giving my thoughts on how this week went, especially with the cut and what I'm doing with the food manipulation. I'll probably check in on Friday before I head out to Omaha, and I'll catch you guys on that video. Peace.